What if only black people voted? Well, everywhere would be Democrat. What if only Jewish people voted? Everywhere would be Democrat. What if only Hispanic people voted? Everywhere would be Democrat. What if only Asian people voted? Everywhere would be Democrat. What if only women voted? Everywhere would be Democrat. What if only men voted? Everywhere is red. Everywhere is Republican. What if only white people voted? Everywhere is Republican. There's a racial aspect to this that they recognize, that they understand, that the only group concerned about limiting government power are white males. That's why they're being targeted. That's why we are being targeted. They'll write articles with that headline, demographics are our destiny. Do we even need an undercover video of them saying this? Joe Biden gives speeches where this is the point. They have the American people, and specifically white people, so kowtowed and beaten down that they can literally look you in the eye and go, we're replacing you. We hate you and your race because you stand up to us. And we're dismantling you and replacing you with people that are more amenable to our exploitation, more willing to allow us a free hand in governance, who don't give a damn about this country or its founding principles. And white people sitting there going, I love diversity though. No, but I'm not a bad one. I'm one of the good whites. Will you be nice to me? And they're just like, no, we don't care if you're good or not. And we see your kindness as weakness. And the more you give us, the more we want. The more you try to help us, the more demands we make. And this is never going to end. Never going to end. We realize this. Can we recognize basic, obvious patterns that repeat like a fractal pattern, day over day, week over week, year over year, decade over decade, century over century? It's the same thing over and over. When are we going to break the cycle? Again, things would be different if we had, an APAC guy that they could go to. Again, this is the irony. They're supposed to be our guy. They're supposed to be the ones that represent our interests. Instead, they represent their own interests, their own profit, their own power. And part of that process of self-aggrandizement is receiving funds and support from organizations like APAC, who they do actually do things for because they're rewarded with wealth and power and influence. We Americans don't have any wealth or power or influence to offer them, so they ignore us. It just represents how utterly broken our entire system is. The idea is that their power of being in this position, of being a congressman or a senator, is derived directly from us. We give them that power, we hold it over them, and if they don't do what we want, we can take that power away. They're supposed to be looking after our interests because that is supposed to be the source of their power. There is no incentive for them to actually care about us at all. It's a perverse incentive structure that completely inverts the construct of our government.
Welcome to the J.J. Carrell Show. That gentleman on InfoWars, Mr. Smith, I believe it is, Harrison Smith, great monologue, great opening, absolutely 100% true. Who up there in Washington, the House and Senate, represents us? Go on, answer that. And if you would have told me a decade ago, I was talking about this a decade ago. I was talking about this 2 decades ago. But if you would have told me a decade ago, 5 years ago, hell, if you would have told me last year, we would be openly talking about the destruction, the intentional destruction of the white race, and talking openly about how are we going to coalesce and represent and demand representation for us, I would have said, you're absolutely insane. Outside me and a few people, no one's going to talk about this because they're scared to death. I've had these conversations in public. I've had people whisper to me, hey, I see you on your podcast and I read your books. I agree with you. And I say, why are you whispering? I believe everything you're saying, but people cancel me. Well, what do you think they're going to do to me? Well, what do you think they could do to us if we're all together? We have no representation. As a white man, I am the enemy. I told my son this the other day. He's 14 years old. I said, listen, Joseph, you need to listen to me very carefully. And I talk to him very directly, my son. I don't pull any punches. And I also tell him, just so you're clear, that I say you don't have to believe anything I believe. But everything that you believe or you contradict with me, I want you to articulate it to me clearly intelligently and without emotion. Because right now, son, you are the enemy. You more than me. They're going to wait me out. They figure, hey, he's in his 50s. He'll die soon, have a heart attack, something. Law enforcement, heart attacks are tied at the hip. He'll die. But you, son, you with your sandy blonde hair and your blue eyes and your white skin, you're the devil. They hate you just because of the color of your skin. They hate you. I said, don't you ever, ever apologize for how God made you. Don't you ever apologize for the color of your skin, the way your eyelashes are, the color of your eyes. And every time I have this conversation with my son to remind him that he's made in God's image and that he is perfect the way he is, and not to listen to the lunatics in this world, I think about how that must have felt for the 1950s black sharecropper driving in his old pickup truck or a car or a bus, and his son sitting right next to him, 12, 13, 14, having that same disgusting conversation with his son about God made your hair black. He made your skin black. Your eyes are the color and the roundness because God made it that way. Son, don't you ever, ever apologize for being black. Do you know how sick that it has to be in society that a father has to tell a son that? If you're black, if you're Asian, Hispanic, or you're white, this is what the elites, the politicians, this is what they have done to us as a nation. They have balkanized us to the point that it is all solely based on race, ethnicity, and sexual perversion, not sexual identity. Don't even go down that road. There's a man and a woman. Sexual perversion. How do you think they take over America? The global reset is not some talking point on the right wing. Oh, look, it's a global reset. Look at those guys are kooks. No. You morons. I wrote a book. I wrote 2 books about this, about the invasion of our country by illegal aliens. Do you think that was organic? Or do you think the whole Western civilization made up of white nations has been invaded? And if you just shut your mouth for a second and listen to what they say, they tell you, and they use the phrase over and over and over again, the global reset. And everyone's like, well, it's probably just an ideology. Go tell that to Sweden right now, where they went from 99% white down to in the 60s. Go ahead, tell them, as they're the rape capital of the world right now, or at least in Europe. How do you destroy the United States of America? Do you vote people in like Mondami, that socialist Muslim pig? No, because I'm never going to give my guns away. I'm never going to allow them to silence me. I'm never going to bend a knee to them, and they know that. They instinctively know that. So how do you change America? Well, you have to replace me. You have to bring in people into our country from the third world that are illiterate in their own language. God forbid English, writing and reading and speaking English. That's like quantum physics, these people. They're illiterate in their own language. Do you understand what I'm saying? They can't read or write in their own language. They will be 100% dependent on the federal government. And they will outbreed us. Oh, JJ, don't say that out loud. They'll call you a racist. Okay. I'm just telling facts. As I write my book, I take UN statistics and I enumerate the birth rates of the groups of people that have come into America. Do you know that the American woman is reproducing at a 1.6 rate? 2.1 is replacement. 1.8 is basically you are hanging on the vine. 1.6 is you are a dying population. We're killing all of our children before we get into the womb. Outside the womb, we're killing them. We're murdering babies. But the people that we're bringing in aren't murdering their babies. They're having babies 5 to 1. I'm going to repeat that to you. 5 to 1. Some Muslims from certain Muslim countries are having up to 10 children. This is a math problem. Let me put it to you a different way, or let me give you a different example. When I say we are being replaced, when I say that this is systematic, that this is intentional, it's purposeful, it's strategic, and if you push back on me because your feelings are hurt, I'm going to push you up against a wall with facts. And here we go. In 2019, Yale MIT did a study, not a bastion of Christian, or conservative or hell Christian values. They came up and they made an algorithm of all this demographic data and jammed it in an algorithm and ran that algorithm 1 million times. 1 million times. The height in 2019 in this algorithm said there were 29 million illegal aliens. The mean or the average was 22 million. And every single person in politics and media and academia jumped on the number 22 million. Why? Because they didn't believe that Americans could stomach 30 million. So they stuck with 22 million. So that's our baseline number going into the Biden administration. That was 2 more years of Trump. The borders were still not fully secured. I was there. They did not become almost completely secure into the last 6 months of his presidency. The last two years, 19 and 20, the border was still open, but we're going to stick with 22 million as our baseline. Enter the greatest traitor in American history, Joe Biden. And the person he hired to run the immigration, the border security, was a naturalized citizen from the communist nation of Cuba, and his name is Alejandro Mayorkas. Alejandro Mayorkas, by their own admittance, they admitted to this, that they allowed in 18 million illegal aliens into America in 4 years. 18 plus 22 is 40 million. Now, every single person in the immigration world knows that 18 million is a lie. It's just a lie. They claim the federal government during that time claimed 3 million-ish illegal aliens crossed the border undetected, absconded. Everyone in my world says that is at least 12 to 20 million, not 3. I believe, and I have stated openly, I've stated in front of Congress, under oath, that the real number is 30 million in 4 years. Donald Trump is now up to 25, admitted to 25 million illegal aliens crossed the border and were released, or crossed the border and absconded. 25 million. That's what he's admitted to. I'm saying 30. I'm going to just go down and round down to 50 million. I want you, my audience, to understand the real number of illegal aliens in America right now is 50 million. Let that sink in. But before you go, dear God, please don't let that be true. Let me tell you, at the same time that 50 million illegal aliens are sitting in America, living completely dependent on welfare, 55 million visa holders are in the United States right now. 55 million. That is 105 million foreign nationals are in America right now. Almost 1 in 4 people in America, 1 in 3 people in America is a foreign national. The visa overstay rate is off the chart. If I had 1%, just 1% of the legal visa holders that entered America did not leave, that adds another 550,000 illegal aliens to America each year. 1%. Do you really believe it's 1%? I know the number has to be in the tens, 20. I would feel comfortable saying about 15 to 20% visa overstays. 5 million, 7 million. Why? Well, you say, well, JJ, you know, the immigration officials they're going to go arrest him. Who? Well, the immigration. Okay, what department? Well, ICE. No, ICE doesn't do that. ICE has 6,000 officers. They're trying to round up 50 million illegals. Well, Border Patrol. No, Border Patrol does not do visa overstays. Well, who does visa overstays? Well, that'd be the United States Citizenship and Immigration Service, USCIS. I would guess there's about 20,000 of those people. At least 10,000 plus are just GS5s and 7s and 9s. They're administrative people, plug in stuff. If I'm being absolutely generous, like off the chart generous, 10,000 are involved in the visa process, like monitoring it. Of those 10,000, how many have arrest authority? If I'm being generous, 10,000 U.S. CIS officers that have no arrest authority are monitoring 55 million people. Let me repeat that. 10,000 officers are monitoring 55 million people this year. Not in the last 100 years, this year. And there'll be 55 million next year. Some will continue on, maybe have a 5-year visa or a residency. But who's monitoring it? Do you know that if a legal immigrant is even suspected, not on social welfare, suspected of having to take social benefits, they're deportable? Almost every single illegal alien and permanent resident is on social benefits. It's deportable. The last president to utilize that was President Trump, and they called him a racist. So we invite people into America, or they sneak into America illegally, and they get on welfare. Why do you think SNAP is running out of money? Do you think they're all just U.S. citizens on SNAP? 41 million U.S. citizens? We are being replaced. This is why when I go speak and give speeches in town, I give one tomorrow evening in Missouri. My speech is, we are living in a time where a demographic bomb has been placed in the middle of America, and it is exploding as we sit here. The demographic time bomb is exploding with birthright citizenship, with all the illegal aliens having babies. We are going to lose this demographic war, and we are over. America may be called the United States of America, but it will not be the United States of America that we have been living in. It will be a completely different world. Quickly, tell me, do you recognize America today contrasted to the America 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago? And the answer is no. There's no resemblance. There's no continuity in America. There's nothing that has what it used to be. Well, how do you think that happened? Do you think that we just kind of changed? Or do you think that we were invaded, allowed to be invaded by our political elites and corporate elites and business people and our religious people that allowed the world to flood into America, do you know the laws don't apply to them? Do you know the people that are driving without a license, without insurance, without registration, nothing happens to them? Nothing. You try to drive with no license. You try to drive with no insurance or having no registration. Your car's impounded. You know that as well as I do. You go and you try to get a CDL and you fail. You try to go to the DMV to get a CDL and you tell them you don't know your name and they put no name given and give you a CDL. You try that. All of this is happening right now. The late 60s, early 70s, almost 88 to 89% of our population was white. 10-ish% was black, and the rest was whatever. That wasn't the 1860s. This is the age when I was born. And by the time that I'm now a father, we are now in the 60%. What? I didn't vote for this crap. I didn't vote to get annihilated demographically from my country, that my founding fathers, my forefathers, the people that came over here from Europe created. And like I tell my son, and I remind myself to have the courage to say this out loud, don't you ever apologize for who you are. I'm never going to apologize to you or anyone else that I'm white. Not going to happen. Just not going to happen. Just like I won't ever make you apologize for being black. That's how God made you. And I'm also not going to apologize for what white Americans created. What white Europeans that came to America created. Don't even start with me about the Indians and they're the wonderful. Come on. I read one of the greatest books about Indians. In the very first page of the book, the author said, before you begin to read my book, take all of your Dancing with Wolves crap, that imagery, and throw it away. That is a lie. They were savages. They warred against each other nonstop. They enslaved, they killed all the men and enslaved all the women and children. So what are we supposed to do? As the white European settlers came over, we were supposed to just live in teepees, live off the land from the Great Spirit? Or should we build something that is beyond their comprehension, like a home with walls? God forbid, a 2-story structure. How about some roads? How about running water? How about electricity? How about something called the Iron Horse, the train? Telegraph, medicine, the arts, music. So instead of being demonized by the crazy white Karens, demonized by the racist activist groups, demonized by the dual citizenship politicians, demonized by the Rainbow Coalition and all those other racist thugs, how about you just say thank you? Thank you, white Europeans that came over here and founded our country and made us a white country that dominated within 200 years. Thank you. But we won't get that, will we? We'll get me, my wife, my son, my family, my extended family, my friends will be demonized for being white. And why are we allowed to be demonized? Why are we allowed to be slandered? Why are we so vulnerable to attack, verbal and physical attack? Because we're gutless. Because the significant majority of white people are gutless. They're so afraid of losing their friends on Facebook than speaking the truth. Black violent crime on white. The coming apocalyptic November 3rd when the snap goes out and all the blacks do not have any snap, our culture finds that behavior inexcusable. Our culture that has been completely devastated and destroyed, to include white people, has no shame. There is no shame. None. Before you walked in the store with food stamps, it was quiet. Like you tried to find a register with no one there, and you discreetly pulled out your food stamps and got the hell out of there. Now they stand in the food line with 2 to 3 buggies packed, and they're screaming at the cashier, and they're filming it, putting it on their TikTok. They all weigh about 250 to 500 pounds. They're literal human hippopotamuses with their fat, grotesque children, with their EBT with $4,000 a month on their food. I don't get $4,000 a month. I don't get to eat steak and lobster every day. What has happened to America? What has happened to my white race? And I say this as a hodgepodge of nationalities. My father's side was Hungarian and Native American Blackfeet. I can trace my Blackfeet. I can trace it all the way back to my great-grandfather. Was on the reservation in Arizona, joined the military, lied about his age at 15, and was chasing Pancho Villa all over and ended up in West Virginia. Changed my name. Made up the name Carrell. 1 R, 1 L. Because only white people could buy land. So my great-grandfather and his brother made up the name Carrell, and then somewhere they added another R and another L to make it sound more white. And this is who I am today. So as someone that is part Native American, and I have been around Native Americans, I have been on the reservation, and dear Mother of God, you want to look at poverty, you want to look at absolute corruption and theft and evil and criminality, go to a reservation. Go look at how they live. With a $6 billion Indian Affairs budget, they live in squalor. I will never allow my family to be attacked, to be slandered, or to be screamed at in public because we're white. Can you believe that I'm having to have this conversation in 2025? I'm going to play a clip from Nick Fuentes. I like Nick Fuentes. Do I agree with everything he says? I don't agree with everything anyone says. But I want you to listen to what he's saying right here. And one thing I want you to focus on when he says this, and I wrote it down. I have it written down. He says something has to give. I've been saying that for quite a while. Something has to give. What is that something? What does that look like? I don't know. Play this for me, please, Nick.
You cannot have people living by the laws of man that are taught to share and to be a gentleman and to be considerate, taught to turn the other cheek and be Christian, people that are wearing a business suit on their way to their job, living alongside people that are shooting and killing to get to the top of the heap, to get to the top of the hill. You can't have them living, because if we were to live by the laws of the jungle, it would look like Nazi Germany. If whites were living by the same rules as the blacks, it would look like Vikings. It would look like pillage and torment and ingenuity and innovation in brutality that they could never fucking conceive of, systematic violence that they are not even capable of. But we don't live like that because it's wrong, because we've evolved past that. And we don't want to return to that. And so something here has got to give. And I don't think that we should be the ones giving. The question is, how long is it going to take for white people to summon the courage to create a political solution to this problem? We have a state. We have laws. We have police. We have prisons. These institutions have legitimacy, but not for long. How long is it going to take for the government to step in and restore order? If it doesn't, it's gonna get ugly. First for us, then for them. It's ugly now for us. It's an inevitability that eventually it will get ugly for the other side. It's only a question of when. That is, unless the state will enter in and enforce the laws.
It's 100% right. If nothing is done, meaning we continue down this dark path of violence, the lack of civility, the lack of law and order, or just the non-existence of law and order, we will hurtle down this road into a pit of hell. And Nick Fuentes is saying something that many people are afraid to say, but I'm going to echo what he said. I'm going to try to take a different tack or try to articulate it in a different way. History has proven it's not what I feel. I believe this is going to happen, but this is just factually true. White populations will continually, because of their Christian background, will continue to take a step back and give people space and try to have a conversation. This is our weakness. This is a great quality, and yet in today's world, it is a quality that is seen by the other side as complete weakness. We will continue to back up until we are on the edge of the cliff. And even then, we'll sacrifice a few of our people to continue to try to be nice and kind. But when that switch gets flipped, like Fuentes said, you will see systematic, strategic, intentional brutality that you could never even fathom. Violence that you just, even on the worst scary movie, horror movie, would never see this. And I go back to John Rich, the great singer. I love John Rich. And he posted something, and I'm going to kind of paraphrase it. And this is where I find myself. And this is where I think America is going. And it was a saying of a man sitting on his porch, on his beautiful land, that he worked his ass off his whole life to purchase this land, build a house. He has a beautiful porch. He has his family. And outside of his property are people hurling rocks, Molotov cocktails, screaming at him. And he keeps going out and saying from his porch, please, I like my life. I'm happy. Do what you want to do outside there. Please don't involve my family. And they don't. And then they approach his property. And again, he tells them, please, I don't want to be a part of this. I'm happy in my world. But then they come on his property. And they take his house down. And they rape his wife. They kill his children. Now that man begins to march into battle. But the other side has no idea what they created. In a man that loved his life, and all he wanted to do was protect it, and you murdered his life. he has nothing left. And there's nothing more frightening than a man that has nothing to lose. He doesn't care about dying. He doesn't care about being maimed. He doesn't care about his physical well-being, his mental well-being, his spiritual well-being. He doesn't believe there's nothing tethering him religiously, spiritually, because he's so angry. He's so resentful. He so much wants to inflict as much pain and suffering as he can to the enemy. And I want America, especially the people on the other side, to understand. Men like me, we're standing on our porch and we're yelling back at you. Please, don't do this. Please. I know how I'm built. I know how I'm wired. And I know if you push me and I come out in that battle, that I'm going to do things that I didn't even know that I had the ability to do. And I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it without hesitation. And I'm going to inflict as much pain and suffering as I can on you and everyone anywhere close to you. And that is the world Nick Fuentes was alluding to. A world where you think you're going to ransack my Walmarts and my grocery stores. A world that you think that you're going to come into my businesses and destroy, my neighborhoods and destroy, my schools and hurt my kids. You're going to hurt my wife and steal from her in the parking lot. I'm begging you like the man on the porch. Don't do this. We've backed all the way up to the cliff. Some of our people have fell off and died. And you think that we're weak. We did not, the white European settlers, not immigrants, settlers. Don't talk to me about slavery. There was enough slaves to build things. We were a minute buyer of slaves in the world for you ignoramuses. You've pushed us to the max. Something has to give. I believe more whites will die because we have millions of Karens, millions of demented 40-something-year-old white women that are demented, that are so childless, so drug-riddled, so medicated that they have no idea what they're doing. But when we scrape them from the battlefield, all there's going to be is men like me. And I know there's millions of men like me. We've had it. Best way for my audience to support me, besides going to our sponsors that I love, is I would like you to go to my Substack, jjcarrell.substack.com. There's the scrolling underneath, and it's in the description. jjcarrell.substack.com, and you can just be a free subscriber. I put out 1 or 2 articles every week for free, and I put out at least 2 and preview clips to my show every day for paid subscribers. Go to jjcarrell.substack.com or go to my website. I have a subscription base on my website as well, jjcarrell.com, jjcarrell.com. Become a subscriber. That's how it keeps me going. I don't ask you to subscribe and I don't do anything. I am actively posting on both my sites, Substack and JJ Carrell. Both have different monthly subscriptions. Substack's $5 a month. JJ Carrell $7.99 a month, just because of the website cost. So if you can, go to those, see if you like it, become a subscriber, free subscriber, paid subscriber. Just go and support me that way. I love it. I appreciate it. My sponsor today, I have 2 sponsors today, and they're interconnected. One is a brand new sponsor, and I'm going to get to that organization within the next probably 15 minutes. Is sat123.com. I don't leave my house without my sat phone being in my glove box. My wife has her sat phone, and we have connectability. I will get a 3rd sat phone when my son starts driving and get his car in about 2 years. I don't even want to think about that. But my son will be driving in 2 years and he will have a sat phone because we're going to have connectability. Because I don't believe that it's an if things go bad. It's not like Nick Fuentes said, something's got to give. Something is going to give. And my family's not going to hold it back. We're going to have a rally point. We're going to have connectability. We're going to have a way to communicate to each other to ensure that we get back together and that I can have my family behind me when the war goes. And no one's going to want to come near my house around the circle of my friends. There's going to be no 500-pound hippopotamuses screaming about their EBT in my neighborhood or my compound or my land. There's going to be no purple-haired white Karens running around screaming that I'm a racist. There's going to be no illegal immigrants from Nigeria or Russia or the Sudan or Mexico coming in my neighborhood. I'm going to guarantee you that no one will be coming in anywhere near where me and my friends are. It's not going to happen. Or you'll die. It's simple as that. We're prepared. And one way we're going to be prepared in the meantime is I'm going to have connectability with my family at all times. So when those savages and there's an EMP or China comes down and hits our grid, I have a sat phone that goes right to a satellite and I have connectability. My son goes to school every single effing day to his Catholic school that I pay out of pocket for. So he doesn't have furries and transgender and all that sexual freaky crap going on. Still got to worry about Catholic, the issue of the Catholic Church, and I'm on top of that. But my son goes to school every day with a ballistic backpack. He has a backpack from sat123.com that saves his life, will stop a bullet. Can you believe I have to even talk like this? Can you believe that I live in a world where I have to send my son to elementary school with a backpack, with a ballistic shield? And before anybody says, oh, JJ, that's overkill, go ask the parents, the two beautiful, beautiful parents of the two beautiful kids that were kneeling and praying in church in Minneapolis at their Catholic school when a maniac transgender freak on some kind of cocktail of insanity shoots and kills them. I'm not rolling the dice on my family for anyone, for any social project, any kind of crazy sexual perversion that you're into, any kind of I'm going to kill people. You're going to have to kill me before I let that happen to my family. And God forbid that happens to my family. I will kill everyone I get my hands on all the way up to chain of command, meaning everyone that's let you out of prison for 37 times. And until men like me, don't care what skin color, men like me do not start talking in these terms. In the old, there is no law and order. I'm going to take care of the law and order. When people can look at me, and let me be very clear, in the world that I came from after 24 years, I can see the bad guys. And conversely, the bad guys can see me. There's a connectability we have. We just have it. I can't really articulate it. I don't really understand it totally, except the bad guys can feel and sense me, and I can feel and sense them. And there have been times throughout my career when I was in law enforcement and in retirement that I get eye contact. And it's almost like a mutual respect nod that here I am. I'm a savage like you. And all bets are off if I have to become a savage. So let's go our separate ways and not have any issues right here. Okay, deal. And I know there's people in this world that have no idea. They have no radar. They think everything is hunky-dory. And when things go wrong, they're shocked. Society is crumbling, people. Our cultural norms have been devastated. Get in the ball game. My title of this is White America Wake Up. White America Wake Up. Wake up, white America. Get in the ball game. Your demographics have been destroyed. Do you think that the Japanese are going to continue to allow their demographics to get destroyed? No, the new prime minister is saying, everybody get the hell out of my country. Why are they racist? You think the Chinese are going to allow Filipinos to go in there? Nope. You think the Russians are going to allow people to come in? Hell, you think Mexico is deporting all the Hondurans. Pakistan just deported about last year this time, 2 million Afghanis in 30 days. This idea that the rest of the world is colorblind and they're all hunky-dory and they all love everybody is a bunch of BS. The rest of the world wants to maintain their cultural and societal norms at all cost. Even third world hellholes demand that their demographics stay the same, except for Western culture, except for the United States of America, where we just allow ourselves to be destroyed demographically, societally, culturally, economically, you name it, we're under attack. You know it, you feel it. I'm going to talk, before I get into this next segment, I want to roll through this next segment. I want to talk about, look, I have this thing. Look at this thing. I have big hands, like my dad has big hands. But this fit in your pocket. This is POC 1 Ultra, POC link. We're going to have the under the URL, excuse me. I have a specific URL you can go to, all right? And get it. I'm going to this new one, and I have a new code. That's the code I have. What is this? What is this pocket hand, put in my hand, radio? Two-way radio. It's connectability. My wife has hers. I have my box here. I keep my box, and I have my radio here with me all the time. It's wherever I go. I get in the car, I have it with my sat phone. Get in wherever I go, I have it. It's like my cell phone. I just put it in my dashboard and I have it. I have connectability with my wife at all times. You think you don't need it? This has a GPS tracker built in. I can track my family that have it. This is for $359. Two of them. You get two. $359. They're going to go up to $9.99 a pair. If you buy now, you also get the network access. And if you wait, it's going to be between $29 and $65 per radio per year. Chris Heaven from Survival Dispatch got me hooked up with this company. And he asked me, do you want to do this? Would you like to promote this? I'm like, hell yeah, I would like to promote this. This is exactly what I believe. I believe in having food and nutrition to be prepared, and I believe having the tools to be prepared. Look, every day I'd go out into the border, the disgusting, vile, violent, repulsive border. Every day I had a gun belt on. And on my gun belt, I had my asp, my steel baton asp. I had my OC spray. I had 2 sets of handcuffs. I had 2 extra magazines for my firearm. Of course, I had my firearm, had my flashlight, and my radio. I was ready to rock and roll in my bulletproof vest. Let's rock and roll. Give me my ATV. Give me my ATV unit. Let's go. Give me my go out on the beach and take care of business. This is what I did. I didn't leave the station unprepared. I'm not leaving my house in my world unprepared. I'm not doing it. For $359, I have connectability. Connectability. I just hit this button and I can radio my wife. Hey, sweetheart, you okay? Yep, I'm good. I'm at Costco. I'm at grocery store. I'm at the park. Picking up Joseph. We're going to go get some ice cream. Okay. Good. Thank you. Love you. See you when you get home. Go to the URL on the screen. Go to this way. Let's take you right to the website and look at it. And I tell my audience this every time. You don't think you need it? Fine. Go to the website and ask yourself, in this world that I live in, do I need connectability? Do I need a generator? Do I need a ballistic backpack? Do I need a sat phone? Do I need a simple two-way radio called the POC1 Ultras? It's encrypted. It's rugged, pocket ready, GPS built in. I love my sponsors because I see the value. I see it. POC link. There's in the description and in the scrolling underneath. Just go visit it. It takes you right there, and it shows that you've been watching my show and that you want to support the sponsors that sponsor us. My last segment, man, I told Nick before I came on, I said, I hope this show goes by pretty quick. We're at 51 minutes. I think it's gone by pretty quick. I want to talk about, again, I can't even get through this show. Because when you begin to talk about the demographic destruction of America, we have been attacked on so many different fronts. And we are now beginning to see the manifestation of the treason that's been committed against America. We're seeing it. It's happening. We are balkanized. You may not completely understand it, but we are absolutely balkanized. Race, religion, ethnicities, language, cultural norms. You don't think it's cultural norms? Go to Springfield, Ohio, where they had 40,000 residents in Springfield, Ohio. And then within 4 to 5 years, they dumped over 20,000 Haitians into that community. So 1 in 3 people do not speak English, are Haitian voodoo people, and they're eating their pets. What Donald Trump said in the debate, and they mocked him, he was 100% true. They're eating the pets. They're eating the ducks and geese in the pond. They're eating their neighbors' cats and dogs. They're running vehicles into buildings because they don't know how to drive. Springfield, Ohio is a dead city. They don't know it yet. They're dead. Everyone's leaving. And all you're going to have left is a bunch of illiterate, uneducated, unskilled, violent Haitians. And Springfield, Ohio will die. It will just die. And this is happening systematically through America right now. And if you want an example of what that looks like, you don't have to go far. You just look at Sweden. I'm going to read some things to you in Sweden. Sweden demographics in 1990. 88% Swedish, 12% foreign born. 1990, 88% Swedish, 12% foreign born. You know where the foreign born were from? Finland. Finland and other white European nations. So their immigrants were just white Europeans. 2024 demographics in Sweden from 88% to 65%. The foreign born is now almost 30-something%. And they're not from Finland. They're from Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, and every other third world Muslim crap hole in the world. Let me give you another statistic in Sweden. In 1990, they had 1,500 rapes. 1,500. Still horrible. In 2024, they had an increase of 570%. Last year, they had over 10,000 rapes. The majority, the significant, complete majority, 90+% majority, were Muslim brown men raping the Swedish white women. Play number 3 for us, please, just to give us an example of what Sweden looks like today. We can stop that, Nick. Just for time, I'm going to have Nick stop it. Did you see any white Swedish women? When you think of Sweden, don't you think of the beautiful, beautiful, like complete blonde hair, blue and green eyes, white skin, tall, slender? Didn't see any. I saw a bunch of angry Muslim men. You think this is not going to happen in America? Oh, okay. Let's look at Dearborn, Michigan. I'm going to read off Dearborn. Ready? Dearborn, Michigan, 1990, same time frame. Demographics, 88% white. Where did we hear that before? Oh, that'd be Sweden. And that was a population of 90,000. In 2024, the population really hasn't grown that much. I wonder why. Ever heard of white flight? Population of 107,000 people. And now it's 54% white. But I want you to understand who they capture in the white census. Do you know who they considered white? Arab Americans. Arabs, meaning the Middle East. They consider them white. So the 54% of Dearborn of white people probably make up 20% of Dearborn, and they're leaving every single day. Let me show you number 4, and let me show you what Dearborn, Michigan looks like with the understanding that 88% of Dearborn in 1990 was white. Tell me if you see a bunch of white people. You see 90% white people?
The great martyrs body lay, but an ugly heart of iron, a shrine for him was raised, and with the blood of every altar, our hearts
Do you think that we're going to be okay when we go to war? Before you say, well, you know, that's Michigan. Well, let's go down to the great state of the Lone Star State of Texas, where the population in Houston, I'm going to skip, if you're okay with this, because we're running out of time. I want to go all the way to number 6, if you will, Nick. Houston has 2.3 million people in it, but only 35% are white. Let me show you what Houston looks like today. Nick, can you pull up number 6, just so we have an understanding from liberal Michigan to conservative Houston. Welcome to Houston, everyone. That's good, Nick. Do you see a lot of white Texans in there with the cowboy hats? Maybe some Tejanos down there with the big belt buckles? Just like it says on the cover of my show. No filter, no fear. I don't have a filter when I'm telling you the truth, and I do not fear anyone. I'm just going to tell you how I see it. And as the title of my show today says, white America, wake up. Wake up.